and welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. If you'd like to support our show, please use our Amazon affiliate link below. Today I am going to show you how to make your own soil, your own potting soil for your houseplants. This is really fun to do. It also is a lot like making your own food, right, in your kitchen. Instead of going out to a restaurant, not sure what you're getting, this way you know what you're getting when you make your own potting soil. And it allows you to add some really cool ingredients. It's also really important to have a good potting soil for your houseplants, as I always talk about. You are Father or Mother Nature. Therefore, you need to provide your houseplants with a really good soil because that's all they've got is what you give them. So if you can give them a really good soil, that's really, really fun to do and very nutritive for them as well. So I've got a bunch of ingredients here. I'm going to tell you about each ingredient as I go and how much is in it, but I am also putting down below the recipe for the potting soil, as well as links to all the products that I'm using in the potting soil so that you have everything down there as well. And I will put links to any videos I mentioned down there so that you have access to them as well. Okay. So, as I mentioned, really important to keep your roots nice and healthy. A lot of the potting soils on the market are not good. They are essentially ground up bark, and you definitely do not want to use ground up bark for your plants. They need soil, not ground up bark. And the ground up bark will be very barky and it drains very quickly. It doesn't have nutrient retention, moisture retention. It's just not good. So this is a great way to ensure that you get really good potting soil. Another cool thing about this is that you can make your own potting soil with coconut coir. I have a video on coconut coir. Actually, I have a video on everything here and just about everything here. So coconut coir is a sustainable alternative to peat moss. A lot of the potting soils that you see out there, they will have peat moss in them. That provides the water retention. But instead, you can use in this recipe coconut coir. So this is 4 cups of coir in here that I have put in here. And you can, if you have peat moss, you can do peat moss instead. So you can do coconut coir or peat moss in this recipe. As mentioned, this is coconut coir. Okay, so 4 cups of that in here. Then the next thing you want to add is 2 cups of pumice or perlite. If you're putting in perlite, you might want to put a little bit more because pumice is a little denser. So I would say 2.5 cups of perlite, but with pumice, it's just 2 cups. Okay, so I'm pouring that in here. The next thing I'm going to put in is 1 cup of vermicompost, 1 cup of worm compost. I have lots of videos, or at least I think I have at least 2 videos, and I mentioned worm compost quite a bit. Great additive, lots of micronutrients in it, going to give your plants lots of healthy growth, really good additive. Okay, next thing I'm going to put in is we want to put in 2 cups of compost. Now this is compost from my loamy. I have a video on the loamy, and this is compost that I made from kitchen scraps, scraps from my kitchen. There was a bunch of different things in this. One of the things were peels, tangerine peels. There was sweet potato peels. There was lots of really good things in this. So you want to put 2 cups total of compost. I'm going to put 1 cup of my loamy compost, and the instructions with the loamy is 1 to 10. So 1 part of loamy compost to 10 parts of regular soil if you were doing it that way. So this is a good amount for that to go along those lines. Okay, and then I'm doing another cup of regular compost that was composted in an outdoor compost bin, and a slower composting going on there. Okay, then we have 1/3 cup of alfalfa meal. And I've talked about alfalfa meal. I have a video on it. It is a natural growth hormone. So it is going to help your plants grow quicker and more robust. And it is, for that reason, really, really good. Okay, so put that in there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to put in is 1 tablespoon of Dolomite Lime. And here is the box for that. And as mentioned, it's very heavy. I will be putting links below as well. So one tablespoon of Dolomite Lime. Now the lime is important to add to your homemade potting soil, because the goal with homemade potting soil is to create a potting soil that is a neutral pH. And I do have videos on pH as well, the soil pH. So 7 is neutral, and below 7 is more acidic, above 7 is more alkaline. The Dolomite Lime is very alkaline because a lot of these ingredients we're adding are more acidic. Now, especially if you were using peat moss. Not so much with the coir, but still we have a lot of acids in the various composts. So that will level it off so you get close to or at that neutral pH for the potting soil. Okay, the next thing we're going to add is humic acid, and I have a video on humic acid and how great it is for your houseplants, and it's right here in this box too here. So this is 1 tablespoon of humic acid. Putting that in. Okay. Then we also have, and I believe this is the last ingredient here, Mycorrhizae. This is a big thing of Mycorrhizae, but I have 1 teaspoon of Mycorrhizae because you don't need a lot. I have video on Mycorrhizae, how important they are. They're beneficial fungi, microscopic fungi, which allow plants to grow bigger, more robust roots and get the plants more nutrients than they would on their own. So putting that in. Okay, so now we are going to go ahead and mix this up. And one more thing I have here, which I'm going to mention, but not going to add into this mix, is rock phosphate. Rock phosphate is really good for flowering and fruiting plants. So if you are making a mix for flowering and fruiting plants, add a tablespoon of rock phosphate to the mix. So we're going to mix this up and show you what it looks like and be potting up in it, seeing my plants do real well in it. So this is fun. I do get prepared mixes, but I also like to mix my own as well. And if you want something with a little more drainage, depending on what you're planting, you can put more pumice in or more perlite in. And if you want a little less, if you want it to be a little heavier, you can play with it a little bit as well. But this is a really good basic mix for a humus-rich, really nice potting soil that can work for just about any, got a little leaf in there from the compost, I guess, that can work for just about any, really just about any type of plant. As mentioned, if you're going to be doing flowers, fruiting plants, you want to add that rock phosphate. And then also, this wouldn't necessarily be the best thing for cactus and succulents. I do have another recipe for that. I'll probably do a video on that to show you how to do that in the future. But for most plants, this is a wonderful mix. Show it to you up close a little bit here so you can get a little bit better view of it. And I've mixed it. You want to mix it really well, obviously, so that you get all those great ingredients mixed in nicely. You can see it's a really nice mix there. It has the water retention value with the coir, but also the pumice, so you get a lot of really good drainage as well. And you can, with the recipe, as you would in the kitchen with other recipes, you can double or triple it depending on how much you need. You could also cut it in half if you want, or cut it in third if you want. It's a little trickier with the third. Half is a little bit easier, but you can mix up what you want just using, as mentioned, the basic ingredients and cutting or adding as much as you need, but using that basic recipe to start with. So there you go. You can see it looks really nice. Looks like potting soil that you would get in a bag, but we've made it ourselves. Thank you for stopping by today. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. And please check the bell if you'd like to be notified when new videos are released.